We do want to get right to our top story this morning, and that is the senseless tragedy happening right here in New York. 2 NYPD officers gunned down while they were sitting in their patrol car, victims of a lone gunman who may have had a vendetta against the police. NBC's Stephanie Gosk is on the scene in Brooklyn this morning. Steph, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Erica. Well, those 2 officers were posted in this neighborhood in what should have been a routine assignment in a difficult part of town. Instead, the New York police commissioner says a gunman walked up to the passenger side of their window and started firing. They didn't have an opportunity to take out their own weapons, and the commissioner says they may not have seen the gunman at all. Caught by surprise, because an attack like this is so rare and so ruthless.
They were quite simply assassinated, targeted for their uniform and for the responsibility they embraced to keep the people of this city safe.
The suspect, 28-year-old Ismail Brinsley, allegedly executed 2 New York City police officers after posting on social media that, quote, "I'm putting pigs in a blanket," with a photo of a silver handgun. The post went on to say, "They take one of ours, let's take 2 of theirs," and included hashtags RIP Eric Garner and RIP Mike Brown. The message ended ominously, with Brinsley saying, "This may be my final post."
Some of the postings, which I understand that are out there, would seem to indicate that he had a very strong bias against police officers.
Brinsley had been arrested at least 15 times in the past, including a charge on weapons possession. He allegedly started the day shooting a former girlfriend in Baltimore, who is now recovering in the hospital. Police say Brinsley then traveled to New York and, with a silver 9mm semi-automatic, killed officers Rafael Ramos and Wenjin Liu, shooting several rounds into the passenger side window of their squad car. Other officers in the neighborhood chased Brinsley to a nearby subway stop, where they say he used the same gun to kill himself. So far, it seems Brinsley acted alone. Passions are already running high in this city. There have been weeks of protests following a grand jury decision not to indict police officers in the death of Eric Garner. Last weekend, 2 officers were injured during a protest on the Brooklyn Bridge. Overnight, the head of New York City's Patrolmen's Benevolent Association lashed out at protesters.
There's blood on many hands tonight. Those that incited violence on the street under the guise of protest, that tried to tear down what New York City police officers did every day.
In a statement Sunday night, Reverend Al Sharpton wrote, "I have spoken to the Garner family, and we are outraged by the early reports of the police killed in Brooklyn today." New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio says the murder is not just an attack on the police.
When a police officer is murdered, it tears at the foundation of our society. It is an attack on all of us.
As the bodies of both Officer Ramos and Officer Liu were driven out of the hospital, there was one final salute. The Baltimore Police Department did issue an APB for the suspect, but Commissioner Bratton says it came out too late. The officers never saw it. Officer Liu just got married 2 months ago. Officer Ramos was the father of a 13-year-old. Now, President Obama was told of the incident while on vacation in Hawaii. He issued a statement on Sunday, reading in part, "I unconditionally condemn today's murder of 2 police officers in New York City. 2 brave men won't be going home to their loved ones tonight, and for that, there is no justification." Erica?
Stephanie, I want to ask you about another moment here. We saw the mayor speaking in your piece at the hospital. When he was at the hospital, though, there was a very telling moment. The officers in attendance there actually turning their backs on the mayor. Tensions have been very high, to say the least, between the mayor and the NYPD. This, as I would imagine, is only making things worse.
It certainly is, Erica. You know, with there being tension between the police and the communities that they serve, you would hope that they'd be getting along with the mayor, who is essentially their boss. This stems back to comments that Mayor de Blasio made right after that grand jury decision not to indict the officers in the Eric Garner death. He had said in a press conference that he had spoken with his son, Dante, about his fears of Dante's interaction with police in this city. And after those comments, the head of the police officers union came out and said, in his words, the police felt like they had been thrown under the bus. Erica?
All right, Stephanie Goss for us live this morning. Steph, thanks.